Previously. In fiendish ambition, Bear Orc strikes, Lake Town besieged under orcish might. Siege engines thunder, ladders rise swift, heavy bodies hold the ascent, walls breached. Spear thrusts deep, foes fall in heaps, battlements cleared, victory seized. Loot flows rich, coffers swell once more. Companions join the shadowed host. Flesh Reaper, a master of forge and war. Legolas, bound in chains, turned to service. Blades reforged in Gundabad fire. Blood-drinker born, swift stabber honed. Fields run red with elven blood. Lords captured, clans shattered by execution. Veldborg falls amid crashing steel. Allies swarm, defending stolen thrones. Dwarven holds weaken, Dale's realms crumble. The pack surges onward, shadows deepen across the north. The kingdoms scatter before the horde. Hello and welcome back to Tales from the Age of Men. And we've actually leveled up our charm skill here. So you can see I'm going to get Warlord. I don't really think that we're going to be getting that much of a benefit from Oratory here. Just purely because, well, it's not early game anymore. And, you know, generally Oratory is for someone that's going to be doing a lot of tasks and potentially a lot of tasks that are non-combat focused. So obviously that's going to be very helpful there. But Warlord, if you're a mercenary, which we're not, but, you know, let's just say that you're a mercenary, obviously this is going to be extremely, extremely good. Anyway, we're here. Zavarina is here. I am not going to be attacking her because there are reasons why, but I'm not going to go into those right now because apparently, yes, things happened. But yes, this is actually the final fief, with the exception of this one, that the Men of Dale actually have available. Let's just see. She's actually going... What is she actually doing right now? I have no idea what she's actually doing, but there you go. Alright, so 301, we're going to be going in against her. This is actually a pretty significant numbers disadvantage for us right here, so I'm not sure if we're actually going to do a good job here, but maybe we'll be okay. Alright, so here we go. Let's make our way in here and we'll see whether we can actually do something. I'm going to just tell my forces to charge immediately here, but I'm not going to actually say for all of them to go in. I just want them to be as fast as possible to get to their destination, which is most likely going to be around this area here, or maybe not, because the enemy does seem to be playing quite passively. So looks as though we are actually going to be making our way a little bit further, and yeah, let's see what we can do. Okay, yeah, I think something like this is probably going to be kind of nice for us. I'm going to try to see if I can snipe. Nice, there we go. Wow, that was actually much better than anticipated. I thought we were going to have some problems hitting that. Ooh, nice. She actually blocked that. Very good. We are actually doing a lot of damage right now, so if we can even destroy her shield, then that's going to be relatively decent as it is. Okay, yeah, don't get swarmed, because that could happen very, very easily here. Hello, my cavalry are just standing there. Okay, let's tell them to charge in right now. Should we actually? No, you know what? Let's not tell them to charge in. Let's tell them to go over here first, because we are going to be... yeah, here we go. Nice. There's the snipe. That is exactly what we wanted. And I'm going to assume that the enemy is going to be very, very sheepish now. They're going to try to run away quite quickly here. Because their leader is dead. Obviously, they do have another one, I assume. I'm going to tell my infantry just to purely charge here. We have so many berserkers. I don't know where these guys came. I think they came from the garrison, actually. Yes, they came from the garrison. So they are going to completely... Well, they're going to destroy the enemy. They're going to destroy the enemy in such a massive way that we're not even really going to know what happened. But yeah, we're just going to see these guys do crazy, crazy things. We also have Legolas, of course. Legolas is obviously kind of funny. Kind of funny that we have him, but it's pretty nice nevertheless. Massive amounts of skirmishers as well, as you can see. Wow, okay. I am just hearing shields getting hit in my ears right now, just generally because these guys you're throwing so many things at the opponent and they're just all blocking them and stuff like that. But yeah, we are not doing too badly, if I do say so myself. And the funny thing about this particular attack right now is that we haven't even used our cavalry. And I think the main reason why I generally tend to prefer not using cavalry nowadays. I obviously didn't really realize this super early on or anything like that, but generally the Men of Dale, they like to use a lot of mercenaries. They like to use a lot of mercenaries, and these mercenaries have polearms primarily, and they're very good at using them. You've seen them time and time again actually kill me in some of these battles, just purely because they are able to 100% just snipe you. They can just snipe you. As soon as you're running around and stuff like that on your mount, you can very easily be killed by these guys. So yeah, that's generally the reason. Otherwise, yeah, using your infantry alone, you don't really have to worry about it, you know, because obviously infantry don't have the same kind of disadvantage against polearms. So there you go, that's it. 46 renown, 68 influence. This is extremely good for us, because this basically removes the only threat, potential threat at least, that the opponent has to throw at our allies, because our allies are of course doing battle at the last remaining fief, and we're going to have a great time. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to get out of here as soon as possible. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly take a look at the map, because I want to see where we should go next. I'm thinking that we'll probably go to Erebor, but the thing with actually doing that is that I feel as though we might crash quite a lot going there, because dwarves tend to have that kind of effect. I mean, we could go to Veldborg, obviously, and then just have these two armies join us after the fact, because they will be very easily able to take that. As you can see, they have taken everything else, and we do have Erebor right there. This is actually under siege, I believe, by... Oh yeah, look at that! Rune is actually coming in. Okay, so Rune is actually coming in from the other side there, so that's really nice. Maybe we're actually going to be getting some kind of scissor, you know, crazy cool pincer sort of movement going on here that is actually going to provide a rather nice sandwich effect, and we might in fact see some rune vassals coming over. That would be pretty cool. Oh yeah, I actually forgot to execute this one. Oh well, never mind. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, as you can see, she was actually the ruler of Dale right there, so that's quite funny that we executed her specifically. And indeed, is Asgar actually going to come over here? No, he is going somewhere else. He's going to Kelduin or Selduin, however you want to say it. Obviously, it depends on if you're pronouncing it Elvish or not. And we are otherwise going to actually see here. Wait a second. Yeah, look at that. Oh yes, this is something that I wanted to mention to you, but I obviously forgot because I was talking about other things. Anyway, Rohan has now been eliminated. Yes, they have now been eliminated from the game. And yeah, well, that obviously means a great deal, because as soon as they are eliminated from the game, you know what happens, right? Well, that means that Dol Guldur and you know, possibly Isengard as well, they basically have no enemies, with the exception of maybe Lothlorien. Lothlorien obviously is still alive, and of course you do have the Imladris elves as well. They are very much alive and kicking. I am a little bit worried about possibly... yeah, I'm a bit worried about a crash, to be honest. I'm a bit worried about a crash, but if that does happen, I think I did save relatively recently, but I'm hopeful that we won't get a crash. Oh dear. Oh no. Okay, I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah, I have a very bad feeling about this, because the enemy is definitely going to come in here with a massive amount of catapult deaths. Yeah, there it is. There it is. That's exactly what I was talking about. And I really did not want to see that, because my forces are going to be the ones to take the brunt of the damage. As you can see, massive amounts of damage coming in against our Azog's champions. We really need those guys to break the enemy's lines. They are so extremely strong. They are really good at what they do, and I would love to be able to have them. But yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this. Look at how absolutely ridiculous the damage is when it comes to this. Okay, yeah, when it comes to these catapults. I'm actually going to have to do something here. This is really bad, actually. Okay, I'm going to get out my two-handed, try to do damage against the gate. Okay, here we go. Come on now. Yes. Are my guys actually doing any damage against the gate? It feels like they're not doing anything. Okay, there we go. Nice. Okay, so we're through. Let me see if I can do some damage here as well. A little bit too dark for my liking, to be honest, but, you know, we'll see what we can do. There we go. And maybe we can do something more. Ooh, that was actually pretty amazing that that guy was able to survive that hit. Okay, yeah, no, it seems like we're absolutely fine. And indeed, the enemy is very much outnumbered right now. We do have a load of allied forces with us right now. So we should be completely fine here. But obviously, we've had significant casualties as a result of the enemy's catapult bombardment. And they are still doing it. Look at this. They are actually still doing it. They are still being rather effective. I'm actually surprised about that. Ah, hello. Yeah, there we go. There they are. Okay, I'm going to try to snipe this guy. There we go. So that my forces can now help me with this one. There we go. Very nice. And I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to tell my people just to charge in. I'm literally just going to tell them to charge in because it feels to me like, why would we, you know, stay with our strategy or something like that if we are literally just going to get overwhelmed and killed way too easily? I'm just going to run along here. I'm going to distract these small amounts of units right now, and they're going to turn around in a minute. Yeah, as you can see right here. Okay, now maybe I can snipe. There we go. And a little bit more with our spear. Hopefully we can thrust into them as hard as possible. Yes, as hard as possible. Yes, that's not actually the word, but yes, we will try to do that. And indeed, look at that, massive damage from our spear. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, yeah. So I think we should be able to speed things up right now, and I'm actually really pleased that we've not had a crash or anything like that. To be fair, me mentioning that, I am a little bit superstitious when it comes to that kind of thing, so I generally shouldn't mention it, to be honest. But I think we're going to be okay if I just speed things along here, and we will be... Wow, yeah, that's a massive amount of green writing right there. Oh, yeah, and I almost killed myself. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, great. Look at that. Okay, so we managed to eliminate Dale. And I didn't really do much, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't really me that did that. It was mostly Gundabad themselves. They were the ones to absolutely sweep across their territory and absolutely destroy them. And funnily enough, I don't think we're really going to be having any kind of... Well, I mean, there's not really going to be too much of an issue here, and it very much depends on what's going to happen now. As you see, there it is. That is the faction elimination. They have been completely destroyed, and they are now joining Rohan in the... should we say annals of history? Yes, the annals of history. Very much. Okay, so the question is, do I have any place to really resupply? Yeah, I can technically just move back to Erebor or Dale or something like that. I can do it that way instead. I don't actually know what's going on really here at Rune, because it feels like they haven't done that much. Have they taken this? No, this is actually originally their fief, so it's a bit strange that they haven't really... they don't seem that active in regards to their invasion of Erebor. Kind of a bit strange. I would have kind of hoped that they would be a bit more aggressive in these cases, but I guess that's all right. Anyway, I'm just going to spend 100 influence on this guy. I'm just trying to increase my relation with pretty much everyone that I can at the moment, because if I increase relation, what I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do is actually push forward one of our policies. Because the policy themselves, and I'm talking about forgiveness of debts here, I'm talking about possibly one of the other ones. I can't really remember those right now, because generally I don't really care what they're called. I just really know about the, you know, forgiveness of debts being really amazing. But Tribunes of the People, that's what I'm talking about right here. Yeah, so Tribunes of the People and forgiveness of debts, I would love to be able to get both of these. This would be absolutely exceptional, because town loyalty being increased by 1 per day, settlement loyalty increased by 2 per day. I mean, really, this is just insane. Now, obviously, I could waste another 100 influence and just see whether we can get Tribunes of the People through, but I highly doubt that's going to work. So I'm probably just going to leave it for the moment. And instead, we're just going to go in, actually, to Thranduil's halls. I need to go over there. But yeah, we're having loyalty problems. Yeah, there are loyalty problems pretty much everywhere. I mean, as you can see here, I'm even having loyalty problems. And I have a guy that has relatively decent perks. He's got, you know, +1 loyalty. I think he's got at least +3 loyalty across the board from all of his from all of his stats, because as you can see here, he has heroic leader +1, he has durable +1, and discipline +1. So yes, indeed, he does have +3, which effectively negates our owner culture penalty. But then, of course, you have governor's culture, which obviously is not the same because he's technically from Rohan, and his governor's culture is providing us with -1 as well, which is indeed another problem. So, you know, if we could have fairgrounds at level 3, then obviously that would be a really, really nice thing, but it takes a huge amount of time for us to actually get that to work. So that's obviously the trade-off there, I suppose, in a certain way or another. Yeah, so as you can see, we can get some more of these... technically, we can get some more of these berserkers, or I could get some more of these brutes. I think I'll just get more of the brutes and just try to level them up as best as we can. And then we're going to be making our way over to Erebor itself. Now, the question is, are we going to be able to take this relatively easily without any kind of, I don't know, any kind of setbacks? I don't know, maybe? Very much depends. Very much depends on them. And we'll see, actually, if we can do it. Ah, look at this. All right, so hilariously enough, look at this. The rune vassals here have literally just gotten themselves taken prisoner by such a small party of Easterling raiders. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Easterling raiders? Really? Yes, yes, indeed. Not entirely sure what happened there, but I can only assume that they were very, very weakened, and the Easterling raiders basically just decided to go in there. Obviously, with our bandit settings the way they are, some of these parties can actually get to kind of ridiculous levels. So I actually really quite like that. It does mean that bandits remain somewhat effective throughout the course of the game, but you do obviously have to be a little bit careful because you don't really want Easterling raiders to be the strongest party in a particular region. Although, I don't know, maybe that would make it interesting, to be honest. Maybe that would make it more interesting. I don't know. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go for, well, basically nothing here. None of this actually helps us in any way, shape, or form, pretty much. Because usually what I'll do is I'll get this for the recruitment rate, because recruitment rate is amazing. And, you know, if you know me and you know what I actually prefer to do in some of my series, I actually really love being able to convert prisoners at an astonishing pace, and getting trusted commander or lead by example is definitely one way to do that, alongside stout defender and loyalty and honor and all that wonderful stuff. Those perks can do some amazing things. So the thing is, we don't really have the ability to convert prisoners in this mod, so we're going to well, I guess just look at the secondary effect. So 20% experience for troops when they're sent to confront the enemy, so that's auto-resolving, and 10% shared experience for cavalry troops. Does it really matter? No, not really. I'm going to take Trusted Commander, I guess, because I am doing quite a few auto-resolves, and I think that generally, if I can just have an auto-resolve give me 20% extra experience, I think that sounds pretty nice. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to wait here for some time until this particular faction from Erebor faction army from Erebor decides to go in here, and we are going to then pounce upon them when they are a little bit weakened. I could technically go in there right now, possibly. You know what? Maybe I should just ignore them, to be honest. You know, that's kind of one of the things that I always kind of debate in my head. I just go, yeah, actually, you know what? Maybe it's not worth my time, you know? Maybe it's not worth my time, because who cares if they take this castle, right? Who cares if they take it? That's actually very true. Why should we care? Right? Why should we? So, you know what? I am actually going to go over here. They might not even bother to take it, to be honest. At some point, they might just give up, because that does tend to be a thing that happens quite often here. Okay, hello. What do we have going on here? We've got a vassal. All right, and I'm obviously extremely fast because we have cavalry. This guy does not have cavalry because he's a dwarf. We're actually just going to auto-resolve against him. Going to take him prisoner immediately, and then we'll just separate his head from his shoulders. And, whoa, okay, they actually have some spears. Oh, interesting, interesting. Okay, well, their spears, as you can quite clearly tell, are not as good as what we have created for ourselves, so we don't really need to worry about that. But yes, I'm actually very pleased with what we've created so far. I think our spear is performing very, very nicely. The only thing that I would really like with my spear, I think, is a slightly more handling. But obviously, the handling is I guess not that important if you have decent-ish timing, even though I don't really have very good timing, so I don't know, maybe it does make a difference. Anyway, I'm just going to go for a little bit of trebuchet action here, and we'll see whether our allied armies are going to be coming over here. They might actually decide to, I'm not too sure, but we'll see if that enemy army decides to give up at their siege and try to interrupt us from this one. Alright, so we've now headed in to the siege, and in general, the opponent, the nearby army, they didn't show up at all. So I'm not entirely sure what they're even doing. I don't know whether they're even continuing with their siege at this point. Look at Legolas, though. Actually performing exactly how you would expect him to do. He literally just got a headshot immediately upon starting the siege. Actually, kind of amusing that he was able to do that so fast. And indeed, we are now going to get attacked. Here we go. We're now going to try to, well, we're going to get a little bit ambushed here, but thankfully my spear is amazing, so should have a pretty easy time sniping a handful of enemies while they're outside, at least. There we go. Nice damage. Nice damage. That's what we like to see. Now maybe I can just do a little bit more, just to get one more kill. There we go. I do have 274 in athletics, by the way, so almost 275. It would be wonderful if we could get to 275 for that just absolutely amazing perk. If we can do that, then I will obviously be very, very happy, because we are going to be so much more tough, right? So much tougher than we would otherwise be. And usually I'm not a big fan of doing this kind of thing if we don't, starve out the opponent or whatever, but generally I do feel as though we have a rather significant advantage with the fact that we have so many of these two-handed weapon users. And I think the two-handed weapon users are making a huge difference to our overall effectiveness, and it just generally feels like we can kind of go in to any situation and our infantry will overwhelm the opponent in a significant way, because we are just crushing through everything, right? Because all my guys, right, they all have two-handed maces. They all have two-handed maces. They all have the ability to crush through blocks. They are obviously doing massive damage against highly armored targets, because blunt damage has high penetration values, of course. And in general, how can you say no, right? How can you say no? And look at what has happened. Look at this. We literally just took this with very, very minimal problems. And look at that. I actually did get to 275 in athletics, which is extremely nice. That means, look at that. Wow. Actually, we did get 75 renown too. Kind of surprised that we usually get, we do get quite a decent amount of renown, but not that much most of the time. So yeah, there you go. All right. So, yeah, we can actually just take this. There we go. And we have now taken it. Now, this is obviously not a town or anything like that, but I was kind of thinking this is pretty far away from pretty much anywhere else. And so I was thinking, yeah, the friendly AI is probably going to take quite some time to get over here. And as you can see, we can give this to Rune if we want to. Okay, let's actually just have a look real quick. How close is this to Rune? This is actually pretty close to Rune. So you know what? I'm actually going to be doing that. There we go. Okay, wonderful. So we just gave it to Rune. There we are. So we just gave this to Rune. Hopefully they will take care of it. I don't know whether they will, but they are all mostly cavalry. So I would assume that they're going to be able to travel across Middle-earth relatively fast, right? That means that we don't really have to worry about defending this too much. I am going to take care of these Easterlings really, really quickly, though, because they are otherwise going to prey upon a number of vassals that will be coming over here. And, well, you never know. We've seen it technically happen, you know, because I went into these guys and tried to fight them. And as soon as I fought them and defeated them, the Easterlings literally had how many rune vassals with them? They had, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 rune vassals. I'm not entirely sure how they were able to take control of that particular battle, or how they were even able to get close to taking these guys prisoner, but they were able to somehow. As I say, probably Rune being weakened through some course of action somewhere. I don't know. Maybe they did a siege or something like that, and there was a large Easterling party nearby, and they just took advantage of the situation. I don't know. Anyway, we did get quite a few different perks available here. I'm going to get Mighty Blow. Obviously, this is actually a little bit better than what you would normally see, because the mod, as far as I'm aware, does have a somewhat passive scaling for a lot of the different perks. So you can see here we're actually getting 1.3 hit points for every skill point above 250 instead of 1. So that's actually really quite significant. That is a nice benefit right there. And let's see, what else can we get? I'm going to go for coaching, I guess. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. I'm kind of surprised that my tactics skill is not higher level, because just think about how many focus points I've had in that thing and for how long. I've literally had 5 focus points in this thing for basically what, 99% of the playthrough, I guess. Yeah, I think 99% of the playthrough I think I decided that I was going to go for a lot of tactics skill, but it just has not leveled up, and it's actually really surprising because I am actually auto-resolving quite a bit. I am using you know, commands and so on and so forth in the battles themselves. But I guess the best course of action to level up tactics would probably be to retreat. I know, to leave your troops behind. That generally is the best way to level up. But yeah, well, to level up tactics skill. As you can see, look at this. We are absolutely destroying Erebor right now, and indeed the only fief that is remaining is Hammerstead. And I'm actually going to be going over there and seeing... Ooh, hello. Wait a minute. Yes, I am going to be going in here. And we are going to try and do some damage. I'm not going to go into any of these battles manually because I'm a little bit worried about fighting dwarves at the moment. I'm not entirely sure if that was the thing that was causing us to crash in some of those sieges. I don't really know. So I'm going to be... I'm just going to err on the side of caution a little bit here. Just going to try to... You know, if they're not super powerful or anything like that, I will just take the slightly simpler road this time. And yeah, we'll see if we can maybe take this. There is actually someone in there, Theodric. I'm not entirely sure who Theodric is. Is that a Rohan vassal? Maybe he defected or something like that. I actually have no idea. But yeah, let's just level up all of these guys, and then we're actually gonna go. Should I go in? I don't know, to be honest. Generally, if I go in here, I have a feeling that there's a pretty high chance we are going to see some kind of sally out, which I would prefer not to have, if at all possible. Hello, there we go, never mind. They literally made a huge mistake here. Wow, that was a massive error on their part. They decided to come outside the walls of the keep, and we were able to pounce upon them after they were done with their battle, because they actually, for some reason, wanted to attack some bandits. And we were right there, so yeah, kind of strange, but there you go. That was really nicely done. So much nicely done that we can now execute these guys with very minimal effort. Nice. Okay, so that is pretty much perfect. As you can see, we've now gained the devious trait. Well, that's absolutely fine. I don't really mind about that. All that I really mind about is basically creating a situation where the garrison no longer really has the opportunity to sally out super dramatically, because usually they're going to need a vassal to instigate that kind of action. So hopefully we'll see something nice happen in about 4 days when we can start starving this particular town and hopefully knocking out a bunch of their garrison. Alright, so unfortunately our allies did actually come and assist us here. I gotta say, I actually do feel as though it is more of a fortunate thing rather than unfortunate, but I said unfortunately because I was a bit worried about the catapults being intact, but I think they actually managed to kind of double down on our strategy of creating the trebuchets. I think they actually went ahead and did the trebuchet strategy rather than you know, completely canceling that and doing something different, which I got to admit I do really appreciate them doing, because let's face it, it's so much easier for us to do it this way, because we've also destroyed the walls partially, which I very much appreciate. Actually, very much nice. I don't know what I was talking about there, but yes, it is actually very nice for us to have that be a thing, because now we can just come in here and do some massive damage with our spear. Look at what we're able to do here. It's actually super good. And you know, the funny thing is, we didn't even have to starve these guys out or anything like that, and it does feel as though we can actually make things happen really easily here, just purely because, as I say, I feel like having a bunch of Azog's champions really makes a big difference. I mean, they are doing so much damage. I mean, I don't even know. Wait a minute. What is actually causing all the damage here? Yeah, I mean, obviously, we have a lot of Azog's champions in our party itself. So that is, you know, of course, going to be a thing. But I'm kind of wondering... Yeah, it's mostly berserkers, isn't it? It's mostly berserkers and stuff like that is actually causing a lot of the damage. So, yeah, that is indeed... yeah, wow. I think I can actually just speed this up. I was kind of thinking that I'd have to be a bit more active in the siege, but as you can quite clearly tell, the enemy is just being completely overrun just purely because we have so many troops. I don't believe that... I think this would be a pretty similar situation if the roles were reversed. For example, if dwarves had 1,500, you know, and they were attacking us, we only had 500, it would be very, very similar where we would just get overrun by sheer numbers. So yeah, that generally tends to be a thing that happens quite often from the snowball effect. Obviously, you know, I mean, let's face it, they are basically done at this point. And for some reason, we're getting relation with this guy. I don't know why, considering we were the ones to instigate this particular siege, but I guess they don't really think that. Anyway, let's take a look at the map here, because I actually think this may be the final episode. Actually, this might be the final episode of the series, because I have nowhere else to go after this, basically. I mean, you can see here we do have one more little town over there which we could go to. Let's actually just see whether we can go over there and actually bait one of our allies into helping us out. This might be a bit problematic. No, it's okay. There are no vassals here or anything like that, so we should have a pretty easy time. But yeah, I have actually found that if you start building your trebuchets ahead of time and then you get allies joining you, they do actually continue with your strategy. Obviously, you do, I think, need to have your siege camp up and running before they join you. I could be wrong about that. Let's just actually see what happens, because Muzra has apparently come over here and he is actually helping us. So let's vote for the new owner real fast. Let's see, 64, 62, 84 actually. Okay, let's go with this. I'm trying to, as I say, get as much relation as possible so I can affect actual change in the faction. I don't think that's going to happen, of course, but you know, it happens. So maybe we'll get lucky. I don't know. Anyway, I am actually seeing them attempt to take this. They will be taking this very, very easily, but we are taking one of their towns. And to be fair, I do think... Oh, wait a minute. Asgard is coming in with 1,300. Is he actually just going to ignore that? He is actually ignoring that. That is very surprising. Okay, Veldborg has actually just rebelled. Yeah, that is, of course, to be expected. I am not surprised by that in the least. That is actually fine. Asgard is going back down there, and he is, hilariously enough, going to take that from the rebels really, really quickly. And, of course... Oh, no, they actually left! Wow, I'm actually surprised. Okay, so, yeah, as you can see, the... well, I mean, it's pretty clear. Their garrison has 0 people in it. I'm very surprised that they actually left this. I have no idea why they did that, but yes, as you can see, look at what has transpired here. The AI has recognized that I have built trebuchets, and they continue with that strategy, so much so that they are now destroying the walls completely. And destroying the walls completely allows us very easy access, extremely easy access to the fief in question, and we can just absolutely overwhelm them. Once again, you know, we can just overwhelm them. And we do have some... Well, we do have some trebuchets built here, but I'm not a big fan of that. Oh, wait a minute. There are some Mirkwood... Oh, dear. Yeah, there are some Mirkwood troops here. That might be a bit problematic. Maybe. I'm going to try to kill some of the higher tier units if I can. Obviously, my spear is very, very nicely designed for pinpoint accuracy and basically just assassinating enemies, because it is just so highly damaging. I think... You know what? I think I can actually just speed this up too. Wait a minute. What do we have here? No, we just have a handful of people coming in, but they're not really able to do much. And... here we go. We've got some more people over here. Okay, we can do some damage to them, potentially. Nice. Just trying to get some damage over their shields, if I can. Obviously, as I've said before... The spear is not very good when it comes to actual one-on-one combat. So generally, if you do have someone that's right in your face, it's going to be extremely difficult to make that work. But apart from that, it's exceptional because I mean, just look at the damage I can do right here. It's really, really nice. And generally, I think we could probably do something similar if I just created a two-handed. I could probably create a two-handed that most likely had a similar damage profile, potentially. It would most likely be something that's very, very slow. And that's also the reason why I personally feel like a spear is probably better to have a low handling stat. Because low handling on a spear isn't as noticeable, you know, because you don't really have a swing, as it were. You have just a little pokey poke action, and well, it's, you know, pretty easy to kind of modify your playstyle for that, because you're not really going in and being right in the face of your opponent. You know, you're kind of staying at arm's length, because that's how effective you're going to be. You know, you need to be effective like that. And you know, if you're standing right next to them, well, you can't do any thrusting as much as you'd like, at least. But yeah, as you can see, the enemy has now been completely destroyed. I'm not entirely sure what my forces are doing. Oh, no, never mind. I don't need to do anything. I can actually just retreat, because we are effectively done. I don't know where my forces were running to, but apparently they wanted to deal with something over there. Okay, yeah, so there were still 4 enemies for some reason, but there you go. All right, that's fantastic. So we are now finished with Erebor. I think, yeah, I think they are actually done. Yes, are they? Are they actually done? Let me actually just see here for a real quick second. Okay, well, obviously Veldborg has rebelled, but I believe that's actually it, unless they have something else that I'm not aware of. Ah, yes, they have this over here, but I mean, you can quite clearly tell that we are absolutely destroying them extremely, extremely easily, in fact. And if I just go over to our diplomacy screen, you can see that Gundabad literally has a combat strength of 20,000. And indeed, Erebor only has 1 town remaining. Very, very easy for us to eliminate that. Gondor obviously has 5,500. Imladris has 5,000 with, you know, 2 towns, 3 castles. Lothlorien has 1 town, 2 castles, and they're done. They are just 100% done. Look at Mordor. They have 24,000 combat strength. Dunland is still alive, surprisingly enough, and they also have 4,200. Isengard 4,700. Obviously not exactly great, but Dol Guldur is doing loads of damage too. Look at this, 17,000. And obviously the others are not really well, I don't know whether they're actually doing anything, but yeah. I think that's probably going to be it. I think that's probably going to be it for this series. I'm not sure. I don't really see how we can lose from this perspective. So I think this might be a good time to end it off here. Maybe. I don't know. I guess so. I was kind of not expecting that, really. I was expecting us to go on for a little bit more time, but Erebor fell before us very, very quickly. And I was quite surprised at that. I thought we were going to have at least, you know, 2-3 more episodes of Erebor, and then it was going to be us, well, potentially going down and helping out with Gondor. But you could see here that they are actually, well, they are actually defending relatively decently here. But I mean, it just does not seem like they have really anything that they can do. It's going to eventually fall before the forces of darkness here, and well, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Personally, for me, I do think this might be a good time to end it off here, because, as I say, I don't think anything is... I really don't think that Gondor can come back from this. Not unless they had a player character on the enemy side. You know, if a player character had the opportunity to come in here, maybe they'd be able to do a little bit of skirmishing, a little bit of executing, and then once they've executed enough vassals, they may in fact have reduced the combat strength enough of a particular faction to be able to fight back. But yeah, well, let me know what you'd like to see. For me personally, I think this is done, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll do one more just to end on on an even number or something like that, but I don't know. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.